few weeks ago, ThinkCar sent me their ThinkScan 662 scan tool to check out. So let's go out to my wife's 2017 Chevrolet Cruze and check it out. But before we do that, let's go ahead and open it, see what's in the box. And be sure you check out the end of this video where I give my honest thoughts on this scan tool. All right, let's see what's in the box here. So right on top is the manual for it, the operating manual. And then we have the scan tool. So in the box is the scan tool itself. Now I have not seen this scan tool before. I did not look at any reviews, so I'm going to be doing a totally new to me review of it. I like the size of it. I've got big hands and this fits me really well. Then we've got the interface cable also that will fit right onto the top of the scan tool, as well as a USB-C charge cable. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. I'm assuming, there we go. I was assuming the power button would do that, with the red button on top was the power button, and I was correct. Pull the protective cover off. Okay, so we're in my wife's 2017 Chevrolet Cruze, and I've got the ThinkScan 662 scan tool that we're going to try out on her car and see what all it can do. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it up real quick, and then I'll talk about some of the specs of this tool. Got it plugged up. So a couple things to begin with is the tool itself is a nice size. The display screen is 6.2 inches. It is a touch screen with a 1024 by 600 resolution. There we go. Okay, so I'll hold it up while it's booting up. It does use the Android operating system, and it does have online connectivity as well. Memory storage, it's got 2 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigs of ROM. There we go. Okay, so first of all, there's several different ways to get into the vehicle, to actually see the data in the vehicle. And one is by hitting the VIN, diagnose, and then VIN. And we'll go through each one of these tabs in pretty good detail. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. You'll see it's connecting, and now it's doing a VIN scan. So it's scanning the VIN number of the vehicle. Okay, and it is a 2017 Chevrolet Cruze. There's the VIN number. Still loading. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to go in, and there's different options here. Automatically search will automatically check the VIN number for all the option codes that the vehicle has that are attached to that VIN number. So you've got automatically search, you've got manually select, and then you've got manually select via VIN. So I'm going to choose the automatically search, where it's going to actually read the VIN number. Okay, so here's all the vehicle information and giving me the engine. I'm going to hit yes. So here's where we can get into the different systems. So we can do a health report, which checks all 4 of the available systems that this scan tool will check, which is the ECM, the TCM, the ABS, and then the Airbag, SIR. So we're going to hit health report and let it scan all the modules. So you'll see it's grabbing the ECM, the TCM, now it's doing the EBCM, and then the inflatable restraint SDM. Okay, so in the ECM, I did make some faults occur, just for purposes of testing. And you can see on this one, we have several different codes related to the mass airflow sensor. What I was super impressed by with a scan tool is, so if I just touch on one of these, it will actually search the internet if you're connected to Wi-Fi, and it will pull up a diagnostic flowchart for you to help guide you into what to do. So here's the fault code definition, the symptoms, and then how to inspect it. Now, this is one of the things that I really teach my students to do, is to read the fault code detail. Not only what the code description is, but what makes it set. What does it take to reset? And this does have some of that information in there. And I was absolutely blown away that a scan tool at this price point includes this. So I'm going to let it finish typing all this out. There we go. This tool will also do bidirectional, so I can control certain things, and I will also demonstrate some of those. So you can see fault code symptoms, and then the circuit inspection where we can actually inspect the different things, and then it's got the circuit tests. So this is extremely helpful, especially if you're a DIYer. This is amazing. I don't see where it has wiring diagrams, but still, this is incredibly helpful. And it does the same for all of these codes. All right, so what I'm going to do now, there are no codes in the TCM or the inflatable restraint module. I'm going to go ahead and clear codes. For clearing codes, make sure the vehicle has been repaired. Okay, go ahead and hit that. Yes, I do want to clear them all. Okay, so next I'm going to go into system selection. And let's just jump right into the electronic control module, the ECM. We do have an automatic transmission. It does have the stop-start system. And we've already done read codes. We've cleared the codes. Let's look at live data first. Okay, so then I'm going to go into engine data. Let's look at some engine data. Now, I will say there's a lot of positives that I found with this scan tool, but one thing that I dislike is the cable is not long enough. So this one doesn't have a Bluetooth dongle that you plug into the DLC, and you kind of have, freedom of movement with the scan tool itself. This one at this price point has a short cable, and that's a problem for me because this is as close as I can get to the camera with it. And also, if I needed someone to drive a vehicle for me and me hold the scan tool in the passenger seat, there's really not enough cable to make that happen. That being said, this is a very economical scan tool, does a lot of stuff for the price. Okay, that being said, we have pulled up our data stream for the engine, and let's just pick a few things, take a look at them. Let's go with accelerator pedal position. Is that up here? Yep. We'll do accelerator pedal position. Let's look at barometric pressure sensor. And let's go with engine oil pressure. I didn't even know that was a thing on this car. All right, so we're going to hit OK. We could select all the data parameters. Okay, so now we have those. I'm pushing the accelerator, and you can see the accelerator pedal position change. Now, one really useful thing, looking at data is awesome. Looking at numbers is good. But there are times that you'll have a momentary glitch that you don't always catch with a number. So it's great to have a graphing option. This scan tool actually gives you that option. So I'm going to hit the graph option down there. Now you can see bottom left, engine oil pressure. We can see our APPs at 0 right now. Barometric pressure is holding steady at 3.86. Now you can see the accelerator pedal position change as I push the gas. That's changing. So if we had an issue with an intermittent, let's say the customer, while they're accelerating, said their engine dies intermittently, and it was an APP problem, we could click on the APP and see a detailed view of it. So now if we're holding the throttle steady and it drops to 0, we know kind of where to focus our attention. Okay, so that is an extremely useful function. Again, for a scan tool at this price point, that's one thing that I am extremely impressed with, is the graphing portion of it. Okay, so now for the fun part. With this scan tool, we have bidirectional controls. This is the difference in what I consider a cheap scan tool, or just a code reader, and an actual professional scan tool, or a high-end DIY scan tool, is the bidirectional controls. So a non-bidirectional control scan tool, we can read data, but we can't manipulate anything on those. With this scan tool, we can actually manipulate different things to make things happen. For example, I'm going to go in, let's do, I think it's fuel system. Yeah, so we're going to do a fuel injector balance test. And what this is going to do is when I hit the button, it's actually going to cancel the injector. So you're not going to be able to feel it. You probably won't hear it or see it. But myself and my helper will actually notice a difference in the way the engine runs. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to cancel injector number 1. And the engine is definitely running worse for a short period of time. Now, thankfully, it doesn't do it for a long period of time, because on a gasoline direct injected engine, that can cause damage with it being turned off long term. So now cancel number 2. And that's a good test of, hey, is this fuel injector contributing to this, to the engine working? All right, so that was the fuel injector balance test. Got a lot of other things. Fuel trim enable. So if you're working on a vehicle that was running extremely rich or extremely lean, or for whatever reason, the shop procedure tells you to reset the fuel trims, we can actually go in and reset the fuel trims back to 0. I'm not going to do that because my wife drives this vehicle and I don't want to affect the way that it runs for her and her think that I did something to the vehicle. So there's that. So yeah, you can see all the different bidirectional controls we can do on this engine. One of my favorite ones, get out of here, as if you have watched my channel any, you know, one of my favorite things is EVAP systems. This one will do the EVAP Purge and Seal, which I highly recommend people. It's one of the first things that I do whenever I'm diagnosing an evaporative emission system code, is the EVAP Purge and Seal. So I'll hit that. Okay, so we can see our fuel tank pressure sensor right now is at negative 0.12 inches of water negative. We can see our voltage for the fuel tank pressure sensor. We can see that the purge valve right now is not commanded, and the vent solenoid at the back of the vehicle is venting right now to the atmosphere. So I'm going to open the purge valve to 10%. And I'm going to make it to where the vent valve is not venting. And then you'll see that our vacuum is, I think I just turned it off. Yeah, you'll see that it's not venting. I am at, there now I'm at 10%, my bad. But I don't, so one thing that I haven't seen on this scan tool, and I could be totally wrong with this, is whenever I do a purge and seal, I like to pull a vacuum on the gas tank and then close the vent valve, close the purge valve, and see how quickly the vacuum bleeds off. I don't see how I can do that on this scan tool. So I'm going to go to 20%. You can see the vent solenoid is not venting. So I'm -4, and I just want to go to 0% command on the purge valve, and I don't see how I can do that. Even if I open up this menu down here, I only have the option of releasing control, and when I release control, it releases control of everything. It does bring me to 0%, but then it also opens the vent valve, and by the time I shut the vent valve again, my vacuum's bled off. So that's kind of unfortunate. Now, I may be totally wrong on that. That's the engine. Like I said, there's a lot of different things we can do. I love the bidirectional controls. And then it's the same with the other modules. The ABS module, we have bidirectional controls. Let me do just a really quick. EBCM, I can go in. I do not have electronic part brake. So let's look at data just really quick on this, analog brake data. So on this one, we can see wheel speed sensors. And that's very useful if you have an intermittent ABS activation with no codes. You can go in, pick the wheel speed sensors. I'm just going to hit the right rear, the right side ones, and we can graph those, drive it down the road, and see if any of those drop out. Extremely useful right there. We can look at the solenoid valve data in the hydraulic control unit. And again, we can read DTCs, clear codes, and do bidirectional tests on this as well. A lot of different tests. ABS pump motor, we can do it to make the pump motor run. Whenever you replace the hydraulic control unit or you're bleeding in that area, bleeding the brake system, you do have to actuate the ABS pump motor to help bleed out the air. So that's how you do that. Go in there and do that. In fact, let me go key on, engine off really quick. Golly, it's so hot out here. Okay, pump motor. Really quick. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Turn it back off. There. Not sure if you could hear that or not, but that was the ABS pump motor test. Just again, actuating the ABS pump motor if you needed to bleed the brakes after doing something around that area. One other thing, let's look at data real quick. I'm going to see if it's got the brake light, brake pedal position sensor. It probably does. Yep, there's the brake pedal position sensor. So right now it's inactive. Push the brake, it's active. So you can check your brake pedal position sensor. Airbag. Again, we can look at the version. What program version does it have? We can read codes, clear codes, look at live data. So this just gives us our VIN number, and if, for whatever reason we needed some of these numbers, it's got all of our information there for this vehicle. And again, we can do actuator tests here, which is only turning on and off the passenger airbag indicator and the seatbelt reminder. Thankfully, we can't make the airbags pop out and go back in. That would be wild. Okay, so that's the main diagnostic pages. And I'm going to end my diagnostic search. We can also go in here. This is just another way to choose the vehicle instead of doing the automatic VIN search. History gives us our history. Report if. So there is the option of if you found a problem and you did a screenshot, then you can report out. I have done some of those. So on this vehicle, and we can look at the report, basically just showing where I did the purge and seal. I just wanted to do a quick test of that. We can share this via Bluetooth, email, or a dollar fix online community. And if you do have any problems during diagnosis, this is where you can go in and give feedback. And then this is how we access the dollar fix community, the social media platform. Then as far as maintenance goes, the different options that we can do, we can again do the ABS bleeding, but here we have airbag reset. So if we do have like a collision fault come up, we can reset the airbag. We can register batteries after we replace it. Reset brake pads after you replace the pads. DPF regen on diesel vehicles, that's extremely useful. Electronic throttle adaptation. Gearbox learning, so after you replace the TCM, or if you replace the transmission, you do have to go in and relearn the shift adapts. And there are other times that you would need to relearn the shift adapts. So that does that. You can match keys on very specific vehicles. Injector coding, if you replace the injectors on some vehicles, you need to put in the new part number. You can do that. Oil life reset, steering angle reset, TPMS reset. Okay, then upgrade the scan tool. We can upgrade the scan tool for the diagnostic software, for the maintenance software, and then the application itself, the scan tool itself, we can update it. And lastly, here's all our settings where we can go in and do certain things. Again, I was super excited to see that it had the screen record option, as well as online service where you can look at real diagnostic data like we did earlier. There's a user manual, fault code library, coverage list of the scan tool, and then some other gadgets for us. Okay, y'all. So over the last few weeks, I've had the opportunity to try out ThinkCar's ThinkScan 662 scan tool on a pretty wide range of vehicles. I did video me going through that on my wife's vehicle, as you saw, but I also tried it out on a Kia Rio, on a Toyota Prius, and a Chevrolet Colorado, just to see if all the features carried across those makes and models, to see how well the tool performed. To be honest, to begin with, I didn't have a lot of hope for this scan tool impressing me, because with my background as a former technician at a Chevrolet dealership and as an instructor now, I've been able to use a wide range of scan tools. I got to tell you though, I was really impressed with this tool. Really, the only big negative for me was the cable length. The cable's just a little bit too short for me. Other than that, some of the things that really impressed me about this tool was it has an internal battery, of course, but when you're plugged into the DLC actually helps charge the battery on the tool so that you're not sitting there constantly draining the battery. It's actually charging it, which extends the life of the tool over, however long that period of time is. I really like the fact that you can record the screen as well. Now, for my purposes as a content creator, that was fantastic. As a tech in a shop, how useful would that be? I can't say that I would use it all the time, but I can see being able to record the screen and then present that to a customer and say, look, here is what the data shows what your issue is. This is why we need to do whatever, needs to be done to the vehicle. I love the fact that you can build reports inside the tool. You can have your name, your shop's name, address, and all that
send it via email to your customer to show them again where the problem lies with their vehicle. Anything we can do to justify repairing the customer's vehicle and to back up what we're telling them just lends credibility to us as technicians or shop owners, shop managers, service advisors, right? I also like the graphing capability. I love that you're able to graph each parameter within each of the modules so that you can see not only a numerical figure, but as you probably know, graphing shows more of a visual representation of what's going on, where a momentary drop in voltage on a sensor won't really be seen in a numerical view, but on a graph view, you will physically see that graph drop down, and then you know that's where the issue is. I love that about this scan tool. The other thing that I was really impressed by with this tool is, like I showed in the video, when you have a trouble code, if you click on that code and you're connected to Wi-Fi, now that only works if you're connected to Wi-Fi, it will pull up and give you kind of an idea of where to look, and it gives you a step-by-step diagnostic path to help you find the problem. That is really amazing, and that was something I was not expecting. Overall, I love the scan tool. It held up to my expectations. Again, it's limited to it's limited to ECM, TCM, ABS, and airbag. But for a DIYer, a mobile mechanic, or someone just starting out in the industry, and you don't want to be waiting on the scan tool that your shop owns, this is a great investment, and I really enjoy it. I like the touchscreen aspect of it. In fact, I don't think I used any of the buttons on the right-hand side to navigate. You can use those. I didn't. Anyways, fantastic tool. So thank y'all for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. God bless.